All right, welcome to the Smeggie Cave. How's everyone doing today? I'm just firing this up because I'm bored. So come on in, join in, chat, wait for some viewers. So we got 0 right now, which means I'm literally just talking to myself, which all of you guys know I'm bad at. Hey Scott, how's it going? There you go. See, I got a person. I can talk to them now. I'm a little better at talking to the chat, but it's way easier when people join in. Got the link in the description, link in the chat. But until then, I guess I'll just ramble and play with my dog. Everyone seems to like the dog, so. Oh, it's snowing where you're at, huh? It's the middle of a snowstorm. I have to say, nice, beautiful, sunny day, not a cloud in the sky. It's probably about 60 degrees or so. You know, wintertime. Although I do kind of miss playing in the snow. But what I don't miss is like living your day-to-day life when it's snowing. You know, like a beautiful snowstorm, and then you got to go to work or something. Like driving's annoying, or having to try to go to the store or whatever because everything takes longer. And I mean, it is what it is. I've did it a whole bunch. Oh, I'm sorry, Scott. Am I making you jealous? But anyways, you know, like so that type of stuff, the day to day, I never like. What I did like about winter was pretty much like the day after a snowstorm, like especially if it's only I don't know, like 5, 6 inches, because the day after, all the roads are plowed, like they got some salt down or whatever. It's not that big of a deal, but then everything else looks so nice. Like I do have to say, I like the way that trees look when they have snow on them, and like fields and all that kind of stuff. And then you can go play in the snow, go snowshoeing or skiing. I never got good at like skiing or snowboarding. I remember I went snowboarding one time when I was in like middle school, and I don't know, I was going for like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if that. And I fell back and like smashed my head on like an iced over part. Like it wasn't even fluffy snow, it was like a chunk of ice. And I instantly like saw stars, got a headache, felt nauseous. Like I was done for the day. Probably a concussion or something similar. But I just had a massive headache the rest of the day, and ended up like I went with like a bunch of my friends, and like his mom drove us all there, and I literally like sat in the van with his mom for the rest of the day while my friends kept snowboarding for another couple hours. It was very annoying. And kind of after that, I was like, you know, I don't really feel like snowboarding anymore because that's not fun. And we weren't even on like a we didn't go to like a thing like a ski resort or anything either. So it's not like it was even that big of like a like that steep or whatever. We kind of there was an open like public land like hill kind of area. You kind of go up to the top of the hill and slide down, almost like a sledding hill. It had a couple little like bumps, like it was you could get enough speed off like the first part of the hill that when it started going uphill, like you could kind of keep your momentum and then go back down the other side. God damn you, block user. There you go. But anyway, that was my snowboarding experience. So I don't do it anymore. I'd like to invite one of the Russian bots into the chat. Let's have a little talk about how horrible you are. That'd be fun. So, other than snowstorms, what else is going on in the world? What are you complaining about? What are you complaining about? This little guy. This little guy. Oh, you gonna lick the camera? Oh my goodness. So I was before I started this up watching all of G-Web's premiering his shot show videos, which I really like the idea of a video premiere because it has the feel of a live show. Like as far as like you can chat along like in the text chat, but then it's pre-recorded stuff, so they can like content creators can make a video, edit it, and do all this stuff, and then join in with the audience also, which is kind of neat. I forget what channel I first ever saw do a premiere, and I was like, "What the heck is this thing?" Like, it's some channel that does very like well polished, edited like videos. Like they always script out what they're gonna say, and they always like show like diagrams, like a sciencey kind of channel. And so it's like they'll show like pictures and diagrams and like prove whatever it is they're talking about, and like all the um like source material and stuff. And so I was like, these guys are going live. Like, I wonder how they're going to do that because I had no idea what a premiere was. And then I watched it. I was like, oh, this is just like one of their regular videos, but all these people are commenting along with it. So I thought that was pretty neat. And like I said, G-Webs is doing his shot show ones from earlier, which got some good videos so far. And I know he's got more to come, so I'll be sticking by for those. The one he had, the Target thing. Man, I'm bad. Thoran or something. What the heck was that? It's go back and look at his video. But an error occurred. Why? Oh, it's already blocked. I don't know. Whatever. Um, but yeah, it was some kind of target thing with their like rubber targets, and it was pretty neat. They had one that was rated for rifles. The thing was like as thick as like a hockey puck. It was like a real dense, thick rubber. And then they had like a couple other like sizes and stuff. But it's like a shoot through rubber target, but it seems to hold up pretty nicely. Basically, it's like they're like the same kinds of shapes and sizes as like you would see a regular like steel target, like even like a plate rack or like a hanging gong type thing, but without the fear of like any ricochet or any of that kind of stuff like you get with steel. But even more so than that is the weight, and in fact, they even mentioned it in the video, right? So it's lightweight stuff. I have a set of steel plates, and you know what? About half the time I go out shooting, I see them sitting there, and I go, "Yep, cool story." And I grab all my guns and I go out to the range, and they stay sitting there because I don't feel like dragging them out there. So with this, it'd be much easier. I bet you can toss those all into a bag. They can't weigh that much. So then you'd be more likely to bring reactive targets with you. And I also had a bracket thing for making like a target stand. You just put like 2x4s in. It's a little like Y shape, so you put like two legs in and one that goes across. You just use a couple of them, and then you can make a little stand you can hang targets from or set them on top of or whatever. And that was pretty neat too, because you don't have to worry about stuff. Hey Mel, how's it going, buddy? Haven't talked to you in a while. Yes, it is good weather. I think I infuriated Scott because he says it's a snowstorm, and I was like, "Oh darn! Well, not a cloud in the sky, and it's probably like 60 something out here." What are you fussing about, this little guy? What? I don't know if that's coming through. He's just whimpering over there. What is your problem? Oh, it's being weird. Oh, and Squib, what's going on, man? So just chilling this afternoon, killing time. I'm not good at rambling to myself. Link in the description. Anyone wants to join. Talk 2A, talk guns, whatever. What? What are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's the weather's the one nice thing about being out here. About the only nice thing being out here. So sorry for all those viewers that are sitting in the cold. Yep. Yeah, he's a German Shepherd. He's actually he's 75% German Shepherd, 25% Pit Bull. But I don't like his look is all like German Shepherd, like just long hair German Shepherd. But I'll tell you, his bones are thick as hell, and I don't know if that's a pit bull quality. That's what I like to think because like we did the DNA, and so that's 25% pit bull, but obviously not in his face and not in his size or any of that stuff. But man, if he tosses those legs up on you, you feel like he got hit with a baseball bat. He has solid legs, and his head. He smacked me in the nose one time with his head, and like it was painful. Got two black eyes from it. It was bleeding for like an hour. It was pretty bad. He didn't mean it. He was just saying hi a little too excitedly. I was laying in bed and he jumped on me and smashed his head into my face. Yeah, it is an interesting mix. I mean, he's a rescue, so we don't really know, where he came from or like if he was because my girl got him when he was a little tiny puppy. They weren't even quite sure what he was. It's funny because he actually was like a little fuzzball. What are you doing? Don't be jumping. Guy's jumping up on the fence. Brand new fence my neighbor put in. Anyways, but so he was just like a little puppy street dog, probably born wild because he was too small to have like even been somebody's and then ran away. Like he was pretty tiny. So yeah, who knows? Yeah, I'm from the streets. I'm a tough guy. He likes to think he's a tough guy. That's for sure. He won't let anybody on the whole street close their car door without him barking at them. Oh man, freaking ribs are killing me. I smashed my ribs on the top of a barrel um over a week ago. Like not the Thursday that just happened, but the one before that. So what, fucking 10 days ago or whatever, smashed my ribs real bad. It freaking hurt. And then because it happened at work, so it's like, well, I got to go get checked out, and I had to go get like X-rays and all this stuff. Turns out it's not broken, which is good, but it's like super duper, like what do you call that? Contusion, right? Like bruised rib. But man, that freaking hurts. And then of course everyone I talk to, and they're like, "How you feeling?" I'm like, Well, it still hurts like about the same it felt like a week ago. They're like, oh yeah, man, ribs take forever to heal. You're gonna be hurting for the next 2 months. I'm like, okay, awesome. I'm excited. So, anyways, that's what's new in my life. So, what do you guys want to talk about? You got to chat. You got to type things. I'm not good like Yankee or G Webs or Clover or Ghost or any of those people that can just ramble, ramble, ramble all by themselves. Also, I didn't have a specific topic that I like wanted to talk about. I just kind of did this because I was bored this afternoon. So this is a very much viewer participation type video. If not, I get self conscious that I'm boring. Oh, Siggy, what are you doing? Oh, you're at work. Well, that's okay. I'll try and keep you entertained. I understand. You can't be like just cruising on your phone all day. What you doing back there? I don't know if you can see him. He really does not show up on the screen very well, but he's like back in our plants. We have a bunch of this like ground cover stuff. Well, this is Roy, and the white one is Ziggy. Zig, come on, get out of there. Hang on, let me go. Oh, okay. Thanks for jumping on me. Let me go get him out of there. Come on, get out of there. Go on. I'm adventuring. Ah, I'm getting attacked. Got this like pokey, prickery vine thing. It just stabbed me in the leg. Having all sorts of trouble today. Yeah, and for anyone who wants to see more of these cute little doggies, they are on Instagram. Their handle is Zigroy. We did not do this on purpose when we named the dogs, but it's kind of a joke. It's like a joke. It's like Siegfried and Roy. Oh, Siegfried. But that's not his real name. His name's Zig. Oh, yeah. We're actually not really sure what this white one is. Some kind of like husky thing or something. I have a DNA test for him, but we haven't done it. We haven't sent it in yet. He is also a rescue. We've had him almost a couple years now. And I only will remember that because we had to drive down to LA to pick him up. And it was on the Super Bowl weekend. So that's what I did like not last year, the one before. So Super Bowl of 2020. I drove down and picked him up when I drove back because I don't really care about football, so I wasn't really missing much. I mean, heck, I'm a Lions fan, so I'm not sure. Like, am I even allowed to watch football? Although I am interested for this weekend's game, the LA Rams, because they have Stafford, who used to be a Lion, and he's like a good quarterback, but he was always on Detroit, so I felt bad. Like he's never going to win nothing. Well, now he has a chance to maybe go to the Super Bowl. Well, I'd like to see him at least get to the game, if not win the whole thing. That'd be cool. But again, I watch maybe one football game a year, if that. Like I really don't care. I'm more of a hockey guy. In fact, when I was watching the hockey game before I came outside, at some point I'll probably go back in and watch it. It's recorded from a few days ago, so don't tell me what happened the last couple games they played. So I have 2 games I have to watch. Oh my goodness. Choco boy. Choco boy. It says we got 6 people watching, and the only one person who's typing is the one who said he can't type that much. So the other 5 people get to typing. Or better yet, jumping in. I'll even make it easier for you. You don't even have to go up to the comment or go up to the description. I'll just put it in the chat right there. Now there's 7. See? Come on in. Click the button. Talk about 2A. Talk about guns. Because otherwise I ramble. What? What are you fussing about? Who are you talking to? All of your adoring fans? Yeah. Okay, Mel's ordering some food. What kind of food? I'm kind of hungry, but it's a little early for dinner. I gotta wait for my girl to come home. She's out getting her hair did. We were gonna go out after. In fact, we still might. So we'll see what happens. But I was gonna she went to her thing, and then since it takes a while, I was gonna wait till she was almost done, and then go down there and meet her, and then go out. But I asked her before she left. I was like, "Hey, you still want to go out tonight?" She's like, "Yeah, I'll probably just come home." So I guess we're not going out today. I'm kind of tired anyway, so it's fine. Oh, a guest. Is it somebody I know? I do recognize that name.
Hey, Smeggie.
How's it going?
You know how it is. Saturday at the factory.
Yep, I know those.
Got to do it, though. I can't be out there calling everybody else lazy for not showing up to work and then not show up to work myself.
Yep. Yeah, I get that. I've been pretty good this year. I've been able to keep my hours around, 40 something most weeks. Well, it's only been a couple of weeks this year, but I don't get paid overtime, but I kind of keep track of my hours anyways, just to make sure that's hey, I'm salary, so if I end up working 60 hours a week, I'm going to try and take some time off to bring that average down.
Yeah, no, it just seems like every industry, I don't care what it is, there's shortages in labor, so.
Yep. Yeah, we're seeing some of that too, which is, I don't know. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's just so weird, man. Oh my God, you're upset about charges too? Well, dog, whining. But anyways, it's amazing all the trucking stuff. We try and get stuff shipped, and every single time it's an extra couple of days just to get parts and materials.
Yeah, it's. I mean, Guns and Barbecue was on some channel. I don't know, some I don't know the guy, but it's 3.5 hours of truckers are disrespected and stuff. And with all the constraints that are on them to, prevent them from making their potential as far as money, I can understand why there'd be a shortage of truckers. And, there's other jobs too that are kind of thankless jobs or jobs that just, it might not be worth it for a lot of people to do. So I can understand why there'd be shortages, but then there's other things that I just don't get. I can tell you, we have shortages like all the other factories because people don't want to show up to work, but our factory is terrible about being competitive. We've had people leave to go to the competition because they'll pay $4 an hour more.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely part of it. I'm surprised, dude, how many people at where I'm at, which I won't say, but I'm around, and anyway, like we always have, you'll see like a big like orientation group, like every time you walk in the front door, like they're all in like training or whatever, and then they're all like lined up and take over to wherever area they're supposed to be working. You'll see like 100 of those people. By the end of the month, there's like maybe 10 of them left. Like there's so many people work for a week and then quit. I don't get it because I know we pay like good competitive wages. It's a good job. Yeah, production line work sucks. Like you're screwing the same bolt 8 times like all day. Like boop, 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 boop. And so it's boring. But you just do that for a little bit. You work your way up to a supervisor role or something. Like there's tons of things you can get into. You just got to do the groundwork first. So I'm real surprised.
They don't want to do the work.
Well, I'm wondering if some people just go work for a short time and quit to get back on unemployment, or, I had a guy.
So that's a good possibility.
When I first started here, I had a guy tell me how to scam the welfare system and all kinds of other government assistance. And he's just going on and on and on. I'm just like, wow, I heard of this, I heard that, but I didn't hear about all these other things. So there are people that know how to work the system. So that could be part of it. But somebody here presented an argument when we were, or a point, I really should say not an argument, but a point. We were having a meeting about the issues we were having, everybody on our shift, and she said, think about how much money people were making on unemployment versus what they were making on a normal check. And then think about all those stimulus checks or whatever that came out, and all that other stuff that came out, all the money that they got. If they took that and put it in the bank, they could literally set it home for 6 months to a year, especially when you've got people that are notorious for not paying their bills or going without or something like that. And I'm like, that's brilliant. You think about it, if you lived at low income and you just wanted to go down to the bare minimum, you could have banked a lot of that because there are ways to live off of next to nothing. I work with a bunch of people that do it. So I'm not saying it's an ideal way to live, but that might explain where all these people are at.
Yeah, that's one of the problems I think with when they added whatever that, I forget how much like extra like to unemployment was, a couple like $300 or $800 or something, but it was the same whether you were in like a super poor town in West Virginia or you're in New York City, like Manhattan. And let me tell you, an extra $300 on a paycheck is worth way more if you're in West Virginia. And so why would you go back to work and make like $10 more, but you had to work all week? Like just stay at home for the 300, you're fine.
Well, also,
I think there definitely should have been cost of living.
Can't be evicted thing probably did not help either. Because how many people do you think scammed that program?
Oh yeah, dude, a friend of my girl, she's she rents out a space for her business, and we were there talking to her or whatever, and she literally was basically like, yeah, so I haven't paid for this space in the past 6 months, but I'm still doing work here and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, oh, why? Like, you hurt? She's like, no, I'm doing like the best. This is my best year. I'm doing the best work ever. I was like, but you're not paying your rent. She's like, well, you can't do anything about it. I was like, wow, how do you, like, I didn't say this out loud, but in my head, I'm just like, how do you sleep at night? You're saying you're making the most money on your business you ever have, and you're not paying rent just because you can? Like, and she did end up eventually having to, like, move out of there. But for a long time, never paid the dude back. So that dude was just sitting on, and this is like a commercial space. So, like, I don't know how much the rent was, but it's like that's
Can't be
his
cheap.
business is now getting screwed.
Yeah. So he's probably jacking up rent on everybody else to make up for it.
You know, and maybe the other people, like maybe their business was hurt and like they don't have as many customers this year or whatever, and so now their rent's going up and they have less income. But the other girl was like making the most she ever did. I don't know. It's just weird. I mean, it's one of those things. Actually, when this first kicked in, because my girl stopped working for a while, and we didn't know like how long it was going to last. We reached out to our landlord and was like, "Can you like help us out a little bit?" And basically, he was like, "Yeah, like can you still pay something?" And I was still working, so we're like, "Yeah." We cut our rent in half for I forget. It was maybe like 3 months or 4 months, something like that. And then after that time, we ended up like paying them back in full. Like we just needed that extra little breathing room. Like we could have made it work, but I hate to kill your savings account down to zero. Like it's nice to have a little bit in there. So that's what we were just hoping for. And then, she started picking back up and now we're both doing good and it's okay. So it's like I appreciate helping people out in a time of need. Like I understand that. But then when there's the other people that are purposefully like scamming the system or abusing the system.
Yeah, I have no problem with people that legitimately need the help. I have a problem with people scamming the system.
But anyways, we got more people in here than are watching. So thanks you guys for joining in. Scott and Melvin Nutt. So
I just ordered a new gun this morning.
Oh boy, let's talk about that. Hooray.
Yeah.
I ordered a CZ97B.
Nice. I like CZs.
Scribble like it because it's in 45 AARP.
I was just working on reloading some 45.
CZ just discontinued them, so whatever's out there is whatever's out there. So if you
good
want
time to
one, order one. And Sportsman's Guide had them. They only had the manual model. I wanted the BD, but beggars can't be choosers. But you do the 4-pay program through Sportsman's Guide. It's beautiful.
Is that one of the guns though that you could get a conversion kit to take a manual safety into a decocker?
I don't know if you can do that. I gotta look into it. But you can pay an extra $500 for the CZ custom, and they'll convert it over to the best millimeter, aka 10 millimeter. Which I just last week bought a 10 millimeter, another 10 millimeter, I should say. My local had what was it? I always forget what it is because it's a mouthful. It's the most expensive Rock Island 10 millimeter they make. It's a 2011. It's their Ultra Match Rock, something weird like that. 6-inch 2011. It's a big gun. I was going to go pick it up today, but due to certain weather conditions, my local FFL was closed.
Are you in some sort of blizzard?
Yes.
Okay, so Hawaii Volcano Squad texted me earlier and goes, "Hey, is that weather going to affect Michigan?" And I'm like, "What weather? What are you talking about?" So, yeah, on Rick's show, he had mentioned the blizzard or something, and I'm like, okay, that must be what he's talking about, some blizzard. How bad is it?
It's pretty nasty out there. Where I'm at, it's not too bad, but if you're on the seacoast, you're getting hammered.
Well, I can appreciate that you got a 45 AARP. I was actually I was looking at a flintlock this morning, so.
You didn't have to fill out a F4473 for that?
No. I'm not. I'm not saying I was. I was looking at it online. It wasn't actually like physically in front of me, but I was like,
Yeah, my last two purchases are going to be kind of boring compared to that. About 2 weeks ago, I picked up a pair of A400s, Beretta semi-autos.
Yeah, there you go.
But
It's
the
old,
the
doesn't
wife
mean it's
also
not
wanted to
gold.
shoot sporting clays with me, so I got one for her.
Man, that's something I haven't done in a while. I have not gone shotgun shooting.
Yeah, I have fallen in love with all of the trap sports. So I don't care if it's sporting clays, uh, five stand, trap, anything. I'm out there blowing up little orange pigeons.
No, that's because you're in a state that does not like firearms.
Well, I'm up in Wisconsin, so I'm okay. But
Oh no, I was talking about Smeggie.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I don't even know if there's a place around here, like even if I wanted to go. I know I've looked for even just like a pistol range, and man, there's nothing. I gotta go like way out to try and find something. But then there's this freaking outdoor police range that's a mile from my house. And so they're over there like showing off all the time. I can hear it from my backyard. Pop, pop,
Oh,
pop, pop,
that
pop,
must be
pop, pop.
torture.
I'm like, you.
Well, what city are you in now, Smeggie?
I'm in the Bay Area,
Oh, okay.
behind
Yeah,
enemy lines. But yeah, I really
that way
like.
in San Jose. They are not gun friendly at all.
if you want to know a place up there you could shoot, just get a hold of Calaveras.
Yeah, I think he's out a ways a bit though. I think I don't remember exactly where he's at. Like I said, there are places, especially, dude. California is weird for as much behind enemy lines as they are. If you start driving, we went up to Washington on a big little road trip, and as soon as you drive up, like across the bridges and everything, start getting up, dude. It's very a conservative nation. Like we saw a bunch of like Trump signs, and it's like farmers, and I'm
Yeah, as
sure
long as
they're
you get away from the coast, you're fine. It's anywhere near
Yeah.
the coast. It's
Well,
liberal
even wine
hellhole.
country. I mean, like Sonoma. Once you get north of San Francisco, you get over the bridge, you actually wind up into pretty red area. But until you hit Sacramento, and then it goes all crazy again. But outside of Sacramento, I mean, yeah, I mean that whole area is very friendly. But the state itself is putting such terrible restrictions on you. We've got one of our salesmen. She lives up there with her husband, and her favorite gun is a SIG 1911. And I was talking to her about my SIG P320, and she thought it was the coolest gun in the world, but she can't get one because it's not on the California registry list.
Oh, you can get them. She just doesn't want to pay what you're going to want for one.
Well, yeah, you basically have to have somebody move into the state with one and then be willing to sell it.
For an obscene amount of money. I know exactly how that works. Because
I've actually
Angelina
considered moving
explained it to me once.
Yeah, I think if I move to California, I can make a pretty penny on most of my collection.
Most of my collection would be illegal.
Yeah, my rifle collection would be illegal, but my handgun collection, that would be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you'd have to leave the mags though, right?
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'd have to bring in 10-round mags because I can't bring those in.
I'd have to buy a lot of 10-round mags because I don't have any low capacity. Well, I do, but I don't have many low capacity mags.
I actually have one of those California Highway Patrol police turn-in 40s. That would be the one way for them to get a hold of one in the state because since they're on the list, they couldn't buy any.
Yep, because it's an 11-round mag.
Yeah. And go ahead, try to get that 11th round in there. That's a pain in the ass.
Try getting that 10th round in there. They were a pain in the ass.
Yeah, 10 I can do. 11 I'm struggling. I got to get the up lula out.
Yeah, I can get them in there with my thumb, but it's not a fun experience. Granted, I can like do and undo the recoil spring on an AK by hand. So I have like retard strength.
Yeah, and those 11-round mags, I think you could put 2 sheets of paper underneath the follower, and that would be enough to make it so you can't get that 11th round in.
Yeah, it's freaking struggle to get that last round in. That's for damn sure.
Speaking of which, something else I got to reload for. I could use some more 40 rounds.
Oh, I'm sitting on a pretty good amount of that.
Hmm.
Before my local shop went out of business, they used to be an LE dealer, and they had an epic, like for the last year they were open, they were just blowing out 40 cal like it was going out of style. $20 for 50 round boxes
Nice.
of hollow point.
Ooh. Yeah, I ended up giving a lot of my 40 away to my son-in-law's father, just because when the animal shortage hit, he had nothing. There's nothing to shoot. So since I can reload it, it was easy enough to just bring me back the empties. That's all I need.
Yep.
And I got pistol primers and powder up the yin yang, so I'm just not worried about, that stuff.
The chips gun is the only 40 cal I have. I've thought about picking up one of the police trade-in Glock 40s.
Those are nice. If you like finger grips.
No, I've seen some that were freaking Gen 3s.
Oh, if you can get like the older Gen 2s without the finger grooves, that'd be cool.
The Gen 3 didn't have finger grooves.
The 40?
Yeah. Unless they had them labeled wrong.
Yeah, because I thought Gen 3 was finger groove for everything.
No, I don't think so.
I actually have a G4 Glock 19, and I took it into a guy to have it custom stippled and remove the finger grooves. I love the gun now.
See, I had a Glock 17 Gen 4 and absolutely freaking hated it. But I bought a Glock 19X and absolutely love it.
Yeah. Well, if you get those finger grooves off of it, it's a great gun. With the finger grooves, I don't like the Glocks. My fingers don't fit where the grooves are. I got little
my problem.
Sausage fingers.
And I'm the same way, and it's like I have really long, skinny fingers, so it's like I feel with the groove, like maybe the top finger will like fit good, but then my second finger, I feel like I have to like stretch it out to get to like the next groove, and then the groove is cut wider than what my finger is, so my finger like slides around in it, and then you end up like getting the ridge like digging in, and by the time you get down to like the third finger, the fourth is like completely off.
Yeah, you're sitting right on top of that groove, and it's like, I don't want my finger there. I want it either underneath. Now you're making a Spock-like symbol with your fingers. It's like it's just wrong.
To give you an idea of the size of my hand, I'm holding a Beretta 92X, and my pinky finger is half off the grip.
Oh, jeez.
I've got fat fingers.
Watch over here, Jesus.
I've got a pretty good fat hand, too.
I put a set of thin grips from Lock Grips on my 92S because it was too fat for me to hold.
I actually have the Lock Grips, but they're the green and black ones like Yankee has. And I love these grips because they're super aggressive. Like this, when you grab these grips, your hand is not going anywhere, and you know it.
Yeah. Oh, I like those Lock Grips. That company is A-OK in my business. They make a nice product. You can get it customized however you want. They are the easiest guys to work with. And they weren't that expensive when you get right down to it. I mean, I think I paid $65 for my my 92S grips. Custom color just the way I wanted it. They're awesome.
Certain things from them get expensive. Like if you wanted one of their AR grips, those are freaking pricey little bastards.
But
For
it's a
an
lot
AR
of
grip.
to do that.
Yeah, there's a lot of G10 to do that.
So Warsaw Patriots out there saying, hey, I'll say hi back. And he's saying the Beretta 92X is overkill. The PT92 is his favorite.
Yeah. Well, I got a 92S
keep saying that to your shoot
for. Yeah. I think I paid. when I paid like $299 for my 92S. It wasn't in great shape. Kind of put it back together, cleaned it up, redid all the lettering in it. Looks nice now. But it's got that. I mean, most people hate it because it's got that heel release instead of the. I don't know.
Yeah,
Learn the
everybody
gun.
hates
It
that
works great.
European heel release on like everything.
And honestly, if you get used to that heel release, I really see why they did it. Because when you push the button, you strip the mag out. Now you know it's gone. It's not like you're trying to twist it out or drop it or anything. You know it's gone because you grabbed it right as you press the release. You know, throw the next one in.
What you're supposed to do is grab your spare mag, grab and eject the old mag, and slam the new mag in at the same time by holding them in two different fingers, between your two different fingers.
My hands aren't big enough to do that.
I can do it. It takes a lot of practice, but I've practiced with like my Makarov.
Yeah. And the sad part is I am like 6'1", and I've got the smallest friggin' hands. I grew to my max height.
You get the little baby hands.
Yeah. Just wrong size from the rest of me.
Oh. The only gun I have that's got the heel release is my PMR 30.
A Kel-Tec.
But yeah,
but I actually had a buddy of mine ask me the other day, should I buy a high point? And it's like, well, if you're too cheap to buy anything else and you just want a gun that goes bang, you know, and you don't care what you look like while you're shooting it, yeah, buy it, definitely.
If you spend a little bit more money, you can get a Sky CPX2.
Yeah. Or you could do the Ruger Security 9. I mean, you're $100 away from it.
That's
and
what, yeah.
The Ruger, lifetime warranty.
So with like a high point type thing, you know, I'm in the thing of like, if is it better than absolutely nothing? Yeah, but could you probably get for a little bit more money, like a lot nicer? I would say it's like that's. I think Ruger's kind of the go-to, you know, inexpensive.
Yeah.
Maker. I won't say cheap, right? Because cheap means like bad or whatever. But
what were those ones they made back in the '90s? The P90 or P80 series. They were like boat anchors, but they were like unkillable. Yeah. They were big, heavy guns, but they
like the P85.
Yeah.
My advice to him was
all the time.
Yeah, my advice to him with buying that gun was, look, it's the moped fat girlfriend. If you don't care people watching you shoot it, it's just fine. It's gonna do what you need it to do.
Or if you want to put the homeboy sights on it and make it into a meme gun.
I told him, you know, if you buy that gun, you gotta get the what's the wrap that they have on it? That's the $100 bills.
Oh yeah,
Like, you got to get that version. I mean, come on, spend the extra couple bucks.
Yeah, it's like a $20 difference or something.
You know what, though? You got me thinking. So I've got this range etiquette rule. You don't show up to the range in anything other than an SUV or a pickup truck unless it's a rental car because you're, in from out of town, right? You don't show up in a sedan, a coupe, a hatchback, anything like that to the range, all right? It's just range etiquette. However, if you're showing up to the range with a high point, then you can show up in anything.
Yeah, I'm actually part of the convertible club at my range, and I get laughed at. But it's like, hey guys, with the trucks, I can park in between you. It's not a problem.
See, I'm the one that can actually show up to the range because they've got all-wheel drive.
Now, mind you, I do bring my Nissan out. I mean, I do have my pickup truck, but I love bringing my little EOS out and just parking in between the big trucks. It's like, okay, guys, compensating for something. I'll tell you what, though, as far as cheap guns go, the next purchase I actually really want to make is I want one of those Heritage bar keeps, the
Oh,
shorter
God.
version of the Rough Rider. I
Yeah,
just
with the
think
bird's
the
head
thing is
grip.
cool.
I just can't bring myself because I look at them and I know they're made from pot metal.
Right. I mean, and the funny part is and that's why I haven't bought one yet, because the bar keeps are like $50 to $75 more than the Rough
They're
Riders,
regular.
and they're smaller. It's like, how the hell?
I just don't like that plastic stupid safety they have on them either.
For a $200 gun, I'll deal with it.
Oh shit! Around me, they sell for like under $200. The regular
Yeah.
ones around me, I can get for like 130.
I can get a Rough Rider for $130, but a bar keep is still over $200.
Yeah. I've contemplated buying one of the Ruger Wranglers.
Yeah, those are cheap enough. I mean, those are like $250 by me.
Well, I am in Ruger land, so I'm about a 45-minute drive from their headquarters.
Really?
Yep. I'm about a 45-minute drive from SIG's headquarters also.
Oh, jeez. I'm a 10-minute, 5-minute drive from Bravo Company.
There you go. I'd be trying to get a job with them.
Yeah.
Just for the employee discount.
Might be worth it, actually.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
if they need an IT specialist?
Like SIG actually used to have really, really good. Used to be able to buy like, it was like 6 or 8 rifles a year and like 10 pistols. Something ridiculous, but now it's like half of what it used to be. But they got pretty good deals still, but I know people that work there.
Yeah. But I got to ask, Smeggie, what got you to move to California? How good was the job?
Pretty good.
Because the league Michigan,
California really isn't that bad. It isn't. Okay, the laws suck, the taxes suck, and some places are congested. But in general, you never check the weather. Every morning you get up, the weather's good. I think it's a good thing for somebody to have lived there if they can, just for part of their life. Just like maybe living in the big city somewhere or something like that. Just because so many things in the media and whatnot, movies and TV shows of California, Canada, you can see what it looks like on TV, but in real life it's like this or whatever. I can understand why people don't want to leave there. Every time somebody comes on their channel and they whine, oh, my taxes, oh, my guns, oh, my, just move. I don't want to. I know exactly why you don't want to move, because the weather's fucking awesome. But,
Yeah.
and there's everything to do. Like, if you have somebody come visit you, you have to go, crap, where am I going to take them? Smeggie, if you had somebody from out of state come to you in Michigan, you'd be, okay, I can take them to Henry Ford, or I can take them downtown to one of those things. But it's some of the stuff that we have here, they've got everywhere else. There's stuff in California that, I'm not saying they don't have it other places, but I mean, they literally have everything in California. So there are some pluses to it, but the taxes and the laws are a big put off. Like, I would never live there again. I would never live there again, but I like to go there on vacation. That's for sure.
Yep. Loved vacationing there. Loved working there, actually, because for the better part of 10 years, I traveled for a living. It was 100% travel was my job. And the California jobs, they were great. It's beautiful weather, beautiful place. I don't want to live in a place where my vote doesn't count. I'm starting to get that way with Wisconsin.
Yeah, especially with what's been happening there the last 2 years.
Now, I'll say one thing, though. At least our Democratic governor is smart enough to give in to the Republicans every now and then. And then they get so mad. It's like, he's just doing that as a political thing. Well, it's like, yeah, of course. He's being smart. Maybe you guys should learn from him. This is called good political.
It's like, yeah, he's just doing it to be political. But is he doing a thing that you wanted done? Like, vetoing an anti-gun bill or something. Like, okay, he's just scoring brownie points. I don't care. Like, a good thing happened.
Yeah, that's just. I mean, as much as you want to complain about him, it's like he let it happen. It was a good thing that it happened, and now you're trying to rail on him because he's trying to score political points. That's not how it works, man. You know, hats off to him. He did the right thing, and honestly, because he hasn't been able to do any of his Democratic agenda, I really think he's going to get reelected because nobody's pissed at him for anything.
Yeah, unlike my home state of Massachusetts, where, yes, right now they have a Republican in name governor, but he really ain't a Republican. Because you, as a Republican, do not get elected in Massachusetts unless you're a rhino.
No.
And basically, Democrats run that state like California. They have a supermajority, and they do whatever the hell they want to do. And they are idiots. And now the Attorney General, Maura Healey, is running for governor in Mass. And she is anti-gun to the core.
I think Massachusetts is the only place I ever went where I really felt like I was in a police state. It's different out east. At least in California, you know, everybody's, you know, woke and happy, and you know, it's its own little world, but you can deal with it. It just seems like, you know, you hit, I don't know, New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, that whole area through there is a giant police state. They're just constantly got their thumb on you.
Yeah. They're very authoritarian.
That's a good word for it.
Which is why I live in New Hampshire. Because I like my rights. And this is the live free or die state.
Well, that's true. I mean, New Hampshire is very libertarian. I wouldn't call them Democrat. I wouldn't call them Republican.
It's called "Don't F with us or we'll shoot you." Because we do have constitutional carry.
Yeah, and you guys really don't have that big city that's driving everything in the state. You know,
no,
you think about it. I mean, like Chicago runs Illinois, Milwaukee runs Wisconsin. Yeah. You know.
But then again, look at Vermont. Vermont does not have a big city that runs anything, but it's not a good state to live in. It's a beautiful state, but I wouldn't live there.
Stuff.
It's
a beautiful sugar high. They can't handle it.
Too many damn hippies smoking pot. Oh, wait, that's Northern California, isn't it?
Well, I'll tell you what, if Republicans ever want a resurgence, if they ever want to take power again, just give in on the pot issue. You'll have so many people back you, you'll never have to worry about things again. It's like civil rights in the 60s for the Democrats.
Yeah. The two things they should just give up on is freaking abortion and pot. If they just got those two things away from the platform, they would start kicking the Democrats' asses.
Yeah, they would destroy them. Because you'd literally have every liberal just go, oh, you mean we can do whatever we want? I like that.
We have the right to do whatever we want? Oh, thank you very much.
State by state, I mean, you don't really need to worry about it at a national level. And why even jump on it?
Yeah.
But yeah, two things that they'll never do, and they'll be stupid because of it. So,
well, the funny thing is, Republicans love taxes.
Well, they love big government, you know.
Yeah, and you would think by legalizing pot, they'd realize how much freaking money they could make for the government.
Yeah. That was like my first presidential vote. I wasted it on Ross Perot because I really believed in the libertarian attitude. I learned better.
If I could have voted for him, I would have.
So yeah, I've voted libertarian for president every election I've had a chance to. I remember I was in like high school government class, and it was the year that, oh my God, it was Harry Brown. No, Harry Brown was running, and we had this thing, right, where it was like we all had to like run a campaign. Like we broke up into groups and had to run a campaign for somebody, and like half the class picked what was that? It was George W. and Al Gore were the people. And so like half the class like was for going for George W. Half the class was going for Al Gore, and our group was the only one that picked Libertarian. And I didn't really know like exactly what they were, but like I kind of liked them. And then as I started like having to obviously learn about it to do all of our projects, I'm like, holy shit, this is like the perfect thing. You literally just want to leave people alone.
Right.
Holy crap, that's refreshing.
Yep. The gay married couple should be able to defend their pod farm with automatic weapons.
Exactly. That's like when I was younger, like I guess I thought I was a Republican because I mean I've always liked guns, and then I was like, their talking point is like less government spending, smaller government, like less taxes, blah blah blah. And so I was like, well, that sounds cool. That seems to work out. And then I found out they don't really mean less government. They just mean, less social stuff and more like military stuff or whatever. It's like
less government
these
assistance.
people are the same, like two different sides of the coin or whatever. Because I remember there was like this meme that was like, Republicans believe in freedom, except for the freedom of what you put in your body, the freedom of who you marry, the freedom of like a couple other little things. And then it's like Democrats believe in choice, except for how you choose to defend yourself, how you choose to spend your money, like blah, 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 blah. And then in the middle is like libertarians believe in freedom and choice, like across the board.
Libertarians are just like, leave me the F alone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's our problem right now. I mean, we've got Democrats and Republicans that both really believe in big government. They believe the government should do different things, but they really both believe in government, being the end-all, be-all.
Well, like, basically the yin to each other's yang.
Right. They both want to use government.
They're just different.
But they both agree in government power.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is why they hate Ron Paul.
Yeah. And Bernie Sanders tries to prove that he's an independent, but he's really not. It's like you're just too crazy even for the Democrats.
The thing with Bernie, I really wish, like, if we could go back in time for the primaries or whatever, I would have liked to see a Bernie versus Ron Paul. Because say what you want about Bernie, like, as far as being crazy and dumb and whatever, but, like, I think he's at least, like, honest. Like, he actually wants to take over means of production. Like, he actually believes what he's saying.
Yeah, he's
he's fairly consistent. He's consistently wrong.
He's a true communist that thinks the government can do it better than you can.
Exactly, but I would love to see like the war of ideology. Like Ron Paul is honest. Like he will call out Republicans if they do something bad, and he will call out Democrats if they do something bad. And Bernie's kind of the same way. He'll call out or praise either side if they do what he agrees with. So it would really be, what do you want? Do you want big ass government running your life, or do you not? And let the people decide between those two different ideologies. It would have been an interesting battle instead of what we ended up getting.
Well, I'll tell you what, I really do worry about government because, I mean, they create agencies like the ATF that just get to do whatever they want. I mean, I know they're going after, what is it, the forced reset triggers. Mm-hmm. They just arrested CRS. I mean,
real quick, I have a quick forced reset trigger. Is that like a binary trigger? Is that like the term for it? Because I don't know. I've never heard that term before. And then I see all these people talking about FRS, and I'm like, I don't know what is that in real life?
It's really cool in how it works.
Yeah. It literally forces the trigger reset to make you be able to shoot faster.
So you know how you have to creep the trigger forward. Yeah, think about it this way, Smeggie. You know how you have to creep the trigger forward to reset it?
Yeah.
You don't have to do that with the forced reset trigger. It basically already creeps it forward for you. So as long as you keep pulling on that trigger, it's almost like a machine gun. It's the same as a bump stock. Once you get good, you get the muscle memory to do it right, you can fire it like a machine gun. Same thing like a binary trigger, because you pull it, it fires. You release it, it fires.
No, that's not a machine gun. No, I will not have you using their terms. it's still one trigger pull, one fire.
Yes.
Correct. It's just you don't have to go through the let off of the trigger in order to pull the trigger again. That's what the forced reset does. It's already does the let off for you, and you just got to pull that trigger again. So and the way it sets is if you get good and you can kind of keep your finger in the right spot. I don't want to call it bump fire. It's already reset. So you can.
It just has real short travel. Like you're kind of riding the line.
No, it physically will reset itself. Basically, it forces your finger to go forward, and then you can pull again.
And then you just pull it back again. So
the trigger is still.
What's their justification on that? I mean, it's just like bump stocks. Their justification for bump stocks is ridiculous. A bump stocks is a fucking chunk of plastic that slides back and forth. Like, whoop-de-doo. Your finger is still pulling the trigger each time.
Under their definition, they could outlaw belt loops. That's how loose and fast they're playing.
Yeah,
well, that
and
was actually a comment I made on one of the channels. Is they were like, can you do this? Is this legal? It's like, well, the ATF thinks that anything that can make a gun go burnt is illegal. So you will lose your dog. Don't pass go. Pay $200. The ATF basically makes anything that they think is a machine gun, and it's their will being imposed. And that is the worst part about government when you get to that point. When you have an agency that can basically arbitrarily make laws without being elected, without doing anything, they're just doing what they want to do. That's the epitome of government getting too big.
Never mind the fact that the ATF is not a law enforcement branch of government.
Yeah.
They have no law enforcement powers.
Yet they're allowed to shoot everyone's dog. They're allowed to take everyone's stuff. Because, that's the big thing with these forced reset triggers. They're allowing people to either voluntarily turn them in or they're seizing them. So it's like, give them the chance to turn them in or we're going to take it from you. But it's like, how is that? Either way, I'm losing my property.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the difference is allowing them to search your car or letting them do it anyways kind of thing. Like, I definitely would not. I would never surrender anything because, like I said, they're going to take it anyways. So at least then maybe because you didn't voluntarily surrender it, there may be a chance when the thing gets thrown out in court, maybe you can get your property back or get reimbursed for it or something.
Yeah.
But I don't understand.
By their own definition, a forced reset trigger is not a machine gun because you still have to pull the trigger in order to release a round.
Exactly. That's under their own that's the part that really gets me is that there is already a definition, and I do not understand how it is physically possible to interpret a definition in a way even with the bump stock or because there was, I guess back in the day, there was a bump stock that had a spring or something in the stock. So when it would compress, the spring would push.
It was something accelerator, Atkinson accelerator, or something like that.
And so there was something like that, and then they came out and said that was a machine gun. Now, partly you could almost kind of twist your brain on that one because the part was applying a mechanical force that was then making the trigger hit your finger. And so you weren't actually pulling the trigger. The spring was pushing it forward. The recoil was pushing it back. The spring was pushing it forward. So I can almost understand their point. The thing was, when they came out with that ruling and said, hey, everyone who bought this thing, it's a machine gun. But if you take the spring out of the buttstock and then just leave the other part that can slide back and forth easily, it is no longer a machine gun.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at a bump stock, it's literally that thing without a spring in it. The ATF told you to basically turn your springy thing into a bump stock, and then they came back and said, well, no, this isn't allowed either.
Yeah.
But
the ATF
mechanical force.
Okay, can I bring a perspective that nobody's looking at, and it's not going to be very popular? Do you mind? Okay, here's the deal. I am not for government overreach. I am not a fan of the ATF or any of the other alphabet agencies. I am not in favor of the NFA or the GCA or the Hughes Amendment. And I don't think that you should be prohibited from owning any of those restricted, not illegal, restricted items. I don't think you should have to have a tax stamp. I don't think you should have to have government report it to your local law enforcement, get permission to take it out of state, not be able to transfer it, etc., etc., etc. That being said, we always say that when the founding fathers, really not the founding fathers, well, some of them, were writing the Bill of Rights, okay, and they put in the Second Amendment, they weren't restricting it to muskets and cannons. And people can talk about the puckle gun or air guns of the time or some of the other rapid fire, multi-barrel, et cetera, guns that existed that they may or may not have known about. But they didn't put any limitations in there saying that in the future, if they develop ray guns, these are exempt from the Second Amendment, okay? We always say that the Second Amendment applies to arms. Arms, period. It doesn't matter whether it's a phaser or a flintlock. It's arms, all right? And that's the way they wrote it. And it keeps getting misinterpreted. People keep saying they didn't think that we were ever going to have machine guns. They didn't think we were going to have bazookas. They didn't think we were going to have... It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That's what it's there for. It's there. That's why it's written that way, is so that as the technology changes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. When the NFA was written, they weren't thinking that somebody was going to invent a bump stock or a trigger activator or a binary trigger or any of these other things. They didn't think somebody was going to screw an oil filter on the end of their barrel or any of these other things. Because of that, in the same sense, they are going after these things because we are flaunting it in their face that we are trying to find legal workarounds to the law that was never designed, never written to adapt with technology or innovation, really more innovation than technology, because all of these things could have been invented in the 1930s, in the 1920s, easily. And matter of fact, there probably were some devices that mimicked some of these things or had some of the same kind of technology. It's just, why buy it when you could go to the hardware store and buy a Tommy gun legally, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the problem is we are violating the spirit of the law, whether we agree with it or not, whether it's unconstitutional or not. We are violating the spirit of the law by creating all of these gimmick things, and then we are bringing it down on ourselves. We are our own worst enemies when we go on social media and we run over there and go, come get me ATF, and you bump fire off in the desert or you do whatever. Now, I'm not saying that somebody shouldn't have the right to do that. I'm not saying that they should have the right to kick in your door and take it, or that they should be able to seize your property without due process or without a law being passed or a warrant or paying you back for it. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying I even agree with the NFA, or I'm not saying that. But we say one thing, but then we say another thing, and all they're doing is exactly what we're doing, but they're just doing it in reverse, and they're not doing it for any sort of good reason or anything else like that. But I don't think people understand that. They just want their fucking toy. And every time one of you guys just cares about your toys instead of your rights, it drives me up a wall, because it erodes at our rights when everybody says, my toy, my toy, my toy. I think you have the right to have your toy all day long, but it's not about your damn toy. It's about freedom.
Yeah, and that's where the CRS problem is so problematic. I don't know if you guys know what happened with CRS.
Yeah. He's
a Wisconsin guy. And basically, there was a group that was making these auto key cards. And what it was a credit card made out of metal. So imagine a piece of metal the size of a credit card. And on it was not so much engraved and not so much etched, but it was basically a picture of, if you cut this out in those dimensions, then you could put that in a certain type of Colt AR-15, and that would make it a full auto because it was basically an auto sear. They arrested him on conspiracy charges because he advertised that. They arrested the guy who's making those auto key cards on basically weapons charges and conspiracy charges because he put a picture on a piece of metal. Yep. This is where the government is overreaching so bad that it's unbelievable. So now, this is the equivalent of arresting me because I own an AR-15 and I own a shoelace. Oh, you could...
No, it isn't. It isn't. It actually isn't. But if you go on YouTube and you say, I'm selling these shoelaces, and here, let me show you how to make this shoelace turn your AR-15 into a full auto. You know what I'm saying? At that point, I'm not saying they really have the purview to do it, but you just poke the bear. These guys poked the bear, and people in the culture warned them not to poke the bear, and they said,
for information.
but
That's the other problem I have.
no, there's more to it than that. There's more to, everybody is cutting it short. There's more to it than that. Okay? I thought he was actually not in that much trouble, but after talking to Rich, who has a law degree, he said, yeah, he's screwed. He's in a lot more trouble than you think. Actually, the conspiracy charges are legit. But here's the thing. The guy was warned by people in our circles, don't do this, and he said, fuck off. And then he was warned by his lawyer not to do this, and he said, fuck off. And then he got busted. He got what he asked for, and all he did was make all of us look bad. Every time somebody decides that they're going to flaunt it in the government's face, even though they have the right to do it, and even though the government is doing wrong, it is setting us back. Every time you go to a rally, every time you pay your fees for an organization, every time you have the conversation with somebody who doesn't understand and you answer their questions, every time you take a new person to the range, every time you do one of these shows, every time you have any sort of interaction that is positive for the movement, that guy just set all of your work back.
Well, I like what CRS is doing because, as he put it, he picked the hill he wants to die on, and he found that hill. And if this is what fixes the ATF, if this is what fixes the NFA, great. He is going to be persecuted for this, and rightfully so, because basically you're right. You flaunt it in front of the government, they're going to come after you. They're going to come after you hard. So
but it doesn't just affect him. It'd be different if it just affected him. It affects all of us. It affects all of us. Oh, yeah. Because now they're going to be coming for these, and they're going to come for the next, and they're going to use these sorts of things as justification. It doesn't mean that it's right. Take all that emotion and dump it, okay? It's not about, oh, well, they did this and it was wrong. We all know they do things that are wrong. We all know they do things that are underhand. But when you poke the bear, this is what you get. Now, if you pay legal fees, get arrested, have your rights taken away, do whatever, your family on the street, that's on you. But the problem is, it's not, in this case, it's not just on him. It's on every one of us because we're all gun guys, we're all going to pay the price too. We're going to have our rights threatened because he decided to poke the bear. So I don't support this guy at all. He didn't give two shits about you when he made that decision. He didn't care one bit about you.
Well, what I'm hoping what happens in that end is, I get it. This is the hill he chose to die on. This is what the persecution that he's willing to take. I'm just hoping it goes far enough in the courts to the point where, let's face it, the Supreme Court has to come down and say that's illegal or that's wrong. Because you can go through any other court and they may make a decision. Nothing's going to matter until the Supreme Court rules on this thing. So hopefully it gets to the point where the Supreme Court actually says, yeah, dear government, you overstepped your bounds. And that's all we can hope for. So the fact that he was willing to take that on, he's willing to put that on his shoulders.
Dude, he didn't put it on his shoulders. He's a scam artist, and you're falling for it.
He's now indicted by the government. They're going to have court cases by this. Look, he's going to have to fight this to the end because if he doesn't win, he basically gave up everything. He's going to have felonies on him to the point where he's going to jail. He'll never own a firearm again. He's got massive fines. They charged him with a felony conspiracy. That's tough stuff.
You're making him into a martyr, and that's exactly what he wants you and everybody else to do. He's not a martyr. He's selfish and self-centered.
Well, I need a martyr right now because that's the only way we're going to get rid of the NFA. What he did made it harder for us to get rid of the NFA. What he did was he fucked all of us. Yeah, but we need to get rid of the ATF. We need to get rid of the NFA. We need to do it in a legal matter. And the only way to do it is somebody literally needs to stand up, step on the landmine, and take one for the team. I don't know how else to do it
So we're going to do it in a legal manner by doing something illegal. Good job.
Well, but he didn't do anything illegal. It's a picture on a piece of metal. This really does show how crazy the ATF is. What's next?
It's not about the picture on the piece of metal or the belt loop or Jerry Miculek's finger, like everybody likes to say. It's a conspiracy charge. It's a separate thing. This is like the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, where everybody's saying he was 17, he was across state lines, and he shouldn't have been there. None of the case was about that. The case was whether or not it was self-defense or not. This is the same sort of thing. You're looking at it at what they're not charging him with, or what it's not about, instead of looking at it what they're trying to charge him with in order to make it stick. And what they're trying to charge him with might not directly involve you, but it will directly affect you. And this guy didn't care. He knew what he was doing, and he didn't care. He didn't take one for the team.
If he loses
This guy, no, he didn't take one for the team.
If he loses this case, literally we're all screwed because government can do whatever they want to us. They've
already could.
No, it does. No, that's not it either. It's not it either. You're repeating the stuff that the big channels that want your money too are telling you.
Yeah, but I can see this as if he loses this case, I could literally be taken into the ATF, taken in by the ATF for making a video showing how I can hold my thumb on a belt loop and do a bump stock. They're saying that because you've given the knowledge away, you are part of the conspiracy. It's like, whoa, wait.
That's the slippery slope.
Yeah,
Slippery slope with conspiracy charges. They are trying to say just because you have that knowledge, you are involved in the conspiracy.
You know, I mean,
it's more detailed than that, guys. You're dumbing it down and simplifying it, and I get that, but you got to understand something. You guys want to make him a hero. You want to make him a martyr. You think that if we poke the bear, this will resolve the issue. You want this thing resolved, and you want all your rights, and you want them back tomorrow. It doesn't work like that, guys.
Yeah, we're not.
It doesn't work like that.
Yeah. I really want to see this process out through the.
This won't even make it to the Supreme Court. It won't even make it there.
But it is worth watching. It is worth seeing where are they going to go with this, because this is the best overreach I've ever seen. I mean, like with the forced reset triggers, could it be considered a machine gun? Well, yes, It fires really fast, so it seems like a machine gun, but it's still not a machine gun. You're trying to make the definition fit to what you want, and that's what the same thing with bump stocks, with whatever they want to do. They're an agency deciding on law of the land. That's incorrect.
Do not have the ability to decide law.
I'm not saying that they do. I'm not saying that they have that ability.
But
I'm not
that's
saying
what they're
it's right.
trying to do.
Yeah, but I'm not. Okay, once you're doing apples to oranges, guys. You're looking over here at the problem and getting pissed off instead of looking at the problem or looking at the situation. And that's what they want you to do. That's how they got the bump stocks. And you guys are doing it again, and now they're going to get the FRTs because they're doing exactly what worked last time, and then they're going to do it for fill in the blank. What do you want to take them next? The arm braces? They've kind of dipped their toe in the water on that. That'll be next, I guarantee. And they'll do something, and everybody will get distracted, and they'll all pump up somebody's GoFundMe or their Patreon or join this GOA or something else like that, and none of it will make a damn in the end. And then those will be gone too. And then the next thing, because we keep trying to go after this the same sort of way, or they see what works and what doesn't work. They're not stupid. I'm not saying these guys are saints or they're on our sides or they're law-abiding. They're not. They're a bunch of thugs. They're a bunch of thugs that our tax dollars pay for. But you're enabling them by skipping over some of these things, and you're enabling them by bringing this guy up to hero status when he's a self-serving a-hole, is what he is.
I don't like CRS. I think he's an asshole, like you said. But I think the government's going way out of it because he was defending and helping fund the other guy's defense, and they went after him because of that. Because the guy who was actually making the auto key card, he had set up a Patreon, a GoFundMe for, and then a Utreon or whatever to help the guy with his legal defense. And the government didn't like that, and they went after him because of that. Now, with the FRT trigger, the former head of the ATF's technology branch has examined that trigger before it hit the market, and he has determined that it is not a machine gun. And this is the former head of the agency which determines whether it's a machine gun. So the ATF is going to have a very, very uphill battle going after the FRT trigger. Because that guy, probably the lawyer that runs FRT, has probably retained that guy as a legal expert. And he is going to sue the living crap out of the ATF.
Yeah, but unfortunately, and that's...
And it's going to take years of legal wrangling, but ATF will lose.
So, I mean, that's just kind of how the ATF does it, though. I mean, they ruled, like 11 times on the bump stock, and then the 12th time they ruled against it. You know what I mean? So,
Yep.
Like, that's good to have him as an expert or whatever, but that doesn't mean he's necessarily going to win. Unfortunately, I do have to shut this down here in a minute. I appreciate everyone jumping in. Just a good conversation. I like having, disagreeing points of view, which I disagree with Squib a bit on what you're saying with the whatever, that crazy guy. I don't like him either. I don't quite see how, you're saying he's bringing us all down because he's getting in trouble for something. I don't quite see how that necessarily hurts us. Like, yeah, you're poking the bear, and every once in a while you're going to get bit. We all know that's what happens when you flaunt in front of the ATF. So, like, I'm not surprised it's happening, but I do think that it can open the door to being like, with all of every time they come out with a new product or a new thing that, follows the letter of the law and is doing what it's supposed to do, and the ATF just decides, nah, that's something else. It's something different, blah, 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 blah. It's either going to force them to admit, like, we don't actually care about the letter of the law for the NFA. We just care about whatever we feel like doing. And maybe that will wake some people up going, these guys are just making shit up off the top of their heads whenever they feel like. And then we get some more fights and we do end up getting rid of the NFA. That'd be an ultimate goal. I don't know if it's going to work going through this guy, but it may get some more people like aware of the situation.
Yeah, and that's the 50-50 chance. Does it actually do something good, or is it just an annoyance that gets pushed off to the side and nobody cares about it?
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I guess I definitely will be keeping an eye on it because it's interesting. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately, I got to shut this down. I got to get going. Thanks everyone for jumping in, and it was a good chat. I like having different discussions and getting everyone's point of view. So thanks everyone.
Thanks, Smeggie.